Howdy, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you all. Hope you're all well, hope you're all tickety-boo. A bit of an impromptu stream. I wasn't going to do stream tonight, but, you know, there we are. But all of a sudden, we know that Update 9 is dropping tomorrow and they've released a patch note. So as we tend to do here on this channel, we're going to take a look at what is coming in Update 39. Now, we've had obviously an inkling because we've seen Bull Roarer and we've seen the content that have been appearing through the test server, but it's always nice to have the proper patch notes. You know, you get to see where you're going to be at tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday, expect the servers to be down for quite a while while the patch is applied, and then we'll kind of probably work out WTF to do after that, which is always fun, always fun. On another note, we may, depending, I won't say for definite, but we may do the new raid tomorrow night. I have signed up for it with the Bulldogs. I have offered to step aside in case somebody else wants to go, but we shall see. So we may dive in there on this captain and see how we fare. I don't know, but I'll leave that up to Minibane and the rest of the Bulldogs if we can find space for a bit of a carry, me, through the content. So we shall see. But yeah, we're going to take a look at Update 39. Like I say, I'm only going to do the talky bits of the patch notes, and then I will let you get on with your rest of your evening. But yeah, I thought I'm not going to have time to get it all sorted tomorrow. So let's have a little look-see. So I'll just grab the patch notes. We shall just drag them in there. And where are... Boink! There we go. Patch notes. Isn't that good? Isn't that good? So, Update 39 is indeed called the Arenas of Conflict. Okay, so we obviously have seen some of these areas before. If you're wandering around Umbar Bahabel, which obviously is the capital of Umbar. But this is the actual title, Arenas of Conflict. So, release notes for tomorrow of special note. Okay, so these are the important bits. Pay attention at the back. 3 new instances and a new raid are now available. Okay, as in, if you read this tomorrow. All 3 instances of raid are available to play for anyone who has acquired Corsairs of Umbar. Open the instance join panel by Shift-J on your keyboard. Here are the details about the new instances. So, the 3-person instance. The raids of Rahabach, from the Apothecaries of Khandum to Langstrand, all the way to Umbar. Indegir, now known as Kashap, has been transporting a draft of the vilest make. We now grasp at his heels as he makes his final attempt to deliver his substance to his master. We will not fail. We cannot. Kashap must be stopped now. So if you remember, if you've done any of the Khandum instances, easy for me to say, we did meet this character before because we kind of helped him and then he double-crossed us and then buggered off and disappeared because all he was after was the draft of the vilest make. So he's a pain in the ass. So that's the streets of Rahabak. Then we've got the Isle of Storms. Okay, a great winged terror known to the people of Umbar as a rock has been seen attacking sailing ships off the Cape of Umbar, swamping them with terrible winds and plucking the hapless crew out of the water. The Lords of Umbar have requested that you find the nesting place of this monstrous bird and drive it from the Shield Isles. The rock is believed to be roosting upon a deserted isle in the far reaches of Archipelago, once a haunt for pirates and brigands. Rumours say that they were driven out by strange and monstrous creatures, far greater in size than any beast should be. So we have done Isle of Storms. Me and Sabine did go through the run through of that, but it did bug for us, unfortunately. But then we did it solo as well. So pretty much on that one, you fight a crocodile, then you fight a kind of like cave troll, large troll, and then you have to fight the rock, which is the big bird at the end. Now the big bird, and I don't mean the one from Sesame Street, he's a pain. He is actually a pain. And I did it on... Well, that was the one that my level corrupted. It put him down to something like level 1 or something like that. But I won't spoil it too much, but he is a pain, so just be careful. So that's the 2 3-man instances. And then we have the 6-person instance, Dahal Huliz, the arena. Now, we have seen the arena in, obviously, Umbar Bahabel. We did presume it was going to be around here, around this area, that we were going to have the raid, I believe, was a lot of the speculation. But obviously, that's not the case. But we have seen the arena and obviously the gladiatorial fights that were kind of brewing outside the doors to the... if you've played the Umbar Bahabel content. So, the gladiator pits of Umbar Bahabel are an instrumental aspect of the Umbaran culture. The battles in the arena of Umbar serve many purposes to the city. Foremost, the arena battles entertain the masses. Second, the arena battles serve to mete out justice against the city's deadliest, greatest offenders. Since taking control of Umbar, the Kindred of the Coins altered the arena's rules. Capital punishment and wanton death are a thing of the cruel past. Combat is now a sport for the masses to engage with and enjoy. Anyone can enter the pit to enhance their glory. The gladiators bound to the arena serve their sentences by entering battle and fighting to the end. These instances are currently available through Tier 3 difficulty and will unlock through Tier 5 difficulty at noon Eastern Time on March the 21st. So it's only going to be a week. Okay, so you've got a week of doing Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 for the 3-mans and the 6-man. And then next Wednesday, which will be... No, sorry, the next Thursday, sorry. Which is March the 21st. That is going to unlock to Tier 5. I'm sure people will have absolutely splattered Tier 3 anyway. I'm sure Bane will have done with his his wonderful little minstrel flying around shouting at everything. So now we're on to the 12-person raid, the depths of Makhta Korbo. So after the confrontation in the... we're sleeping, shh, exactly. After the confrontation in the Citadel of Winds, the ship bearing Azagath, Belondor and Nakasi, Reaper of the Waves, sails northwest into the shadow cast by the Makhta Korbo. Pursuing the trio, you enter the depths of a long hidden cavern, leading through dark, dank, twisting passages, ending at an iron-wrought gate. The smell of the sea, iron and ash assail you as you press deeper beneath the land and closer to the remnants of the temple ruins. This new raid is currently available at Tier 1 difficulty and unlocks through Tier 3 difficulty at noon Eastern on March the 21st. So the same time that the 3-mans and the 6-man go up to Tier 5, this one will unlock to Tier 3. I'm sure people will have absolutely battered this by then anyway. The leading the charge deeds for Umbar instances and raid will be available to complete until 3 a.m. Eastern on June the 6th, 2024. So the depths of Makado will have deeds available at difficulty tiers 3, 4 and 5. The other instances offer leading the charge deeds at difficulty tier 5 only. So if you are interested in doing leading the charge, then you need to do it by 6th of June for the raid. But you got to do the raid and the instances, but you got to do the raid on tier 3, 4 and 5, or the leading the charge for the other instances is on tier 5 only. So there you go. So that's the raids and the instances that are coming. Another addition is the Elderslade Delvings. They're going to be now available. 71 missions available in the Elderslade are now available as Delvings. Okay, that's quite cool. Get started by travelling to the War Room of Anakafu. Find Owsmer and Horin to get started. New rewards have been added to the barter as well, including travel skills to Elderslade and Umbar Bahabel, the Tome of the Grabby Crab and the Tome of the Adorable Sandworm. In addition, delving armor will be updated to level 150 with when the new raid reaches tier 3. So within a week then, because that was going to happen, wasn't it, in the week? Yes. So in a week's time, then you're going to get the delving armor is going to be upgraded to 150. So if you're going to do the delvings, yeah, you can probably build them up, but I wouldn't hand them in if you can get around that, because then when the armor gets updated to 150, I would presume you'd have to barter for the new armor. I don't think the existing delving armor will, if it's at level cap, I don't think that will then jump up to 150. So you might need to, if you want to, obviously you don't have to, if you want to grab the delving armor for some gear. Epic Malices will also be added to the delvings. Read more in the release notes below. So this is something that they've been working on. So I'm intrigued to read this. Again, we did one instance, I think, of Bull Roarer, and then I kind of left it there because I didn't want to reveal too much to myself about what was coming. So next up, news and notes and classes and skills. So this is going to be a bit of a talky if I've not bored you already. So this is going to be about all the different skills that are going to change for the different classes. So let's take a look. All non-immediate combat skills should now have the fast skill tag. All offensive fellowship-wide buffs across classes have been adjusted to apply to the entire raid. For optimized raid groups, this won't make much of a difference to your total possible damage outlet, but it should make it easier to organize groups in organize players in groups without forcing a DPS. Everyone split in order to maximize the power of the buffs. The one notable exception is the Herald of War buff aura, which for technical reasons still only applies to its captain's fellowship. That's a bit of a pain. So you're okay if you've got 2 cappies because you can put 1 in each group, but okay, they obviously don't want everybody to get that nice little buff of, what was it, 3% for the Herald of War. So there you go. As Umbar instances arrive, many classes have had their damage or healing. Everybody's feisty tonight, are they? Everybody, eh? Yeah. You love it. As Umbar instances arrive, many classes have had their damage or healing adjusted a small amount. Details below. While a few specific classes and skills were overtuned, some of these adjustments are broad buffs to a class's overall damage output. We may need to make some further, even smaller adjustments in the coming weeks, but the goal is to get damaging and healing output as close together as possible across the classes. So, if you are a Bjorning, listen up. You've got some skill changes. Bjorning skills were incorrectly configured to benefit from an inherent 15% positional damage bonus on initial hits. This did not benefit the second hit of any skill, so it was giving a larger benefit to two-handed attacks, which only strike the enemy once. This has been corrected, and Bjornings no longer benefit from an inherent positional bonus on any of their skills. So, if you're going to see the crits and the big hits on a Bjorning, you're not now. Bjorning damage has been increased 10% in light of the positional damage, so you do get a buff. You don't get that first big hit. Bjornings may now wield swords. Okay, interesting. Aiding Strike now tears down rather than disappearing completely if it expires above tier 1. Encouraging Raw healing is increased 10%. Nature's Mend healing increased 20%. Aid the Assault in the Maul is healing increased to 25%. Bash Bleed damage is increased 50%. All forms of Thrash now have 0.3 second cooldown. Expose cooldown reduced from 6 to 5 seconds. Wrathful no longer reduces your crit chance as it approaches full. It will max out at 16% and stay there as you gain additional wrath. Okay, so that's good because otherwise there'll be no point to get that wrath there. So I'm glad that's been fixed because otherwise you're getting close to max and then you're losing crit. So you'd be like, okay. Brawlers, are you a brawler? Let's hope you are. Let's Ben, you just sent me that message. That is chuffing ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Yeah, don't worry, peeps. It's not a dick pic. Yeah, it's a picture of his inventory. So the brawler damage is increased 7%. Okay, cool. The mitigation debuff from Shattering Fist is now a percentage base reduction rather than an armor rating debuff. Setup skills now grant 2 metal when used. Setup skill cooldowns are reduced by 1 second. One for all cooldown is increased by 60 seconds. Ooh, that sounds painful. Plant Feet's hotspot duration decreased from 60 to 30 seconds. Plant Feet's hotspot size is increased from 2 meters to 5 meters in diameter. Plant Feet now tears up every 3 seconds rather than every 4. And Plant Feet now has a visual effect when placed. The Shattering Fist legendary item tracery now only increases the damage dealt by Shattering Fist and has no impact on the potency of its debuff. Burglars, you little turds. Knives Out no longer taunts enemy hits. Knives Out now increases your melee damage for the duration and does not reduce your incoming damage. Okay. The effects of Knives Out now last for 16 seconds, up from 10. Improved Knives Out now reduces the cooldown of Knives Out by 30 seconds. When specialized in Mischief Maker, Reveal Weakness now reduces your mischance and increases your evade rating, but does not lower enemy physical mitigation. Cunning Attack now reduces enemy physical and tactical mitigations by 3% for 20 seconds. Flashing Blades and Subtle Stab devastating criticals now correctly receive the same damage bonus as regular critical hits. Coup de Grace offhand hits now receive the correct bonuses to positional damage. When specializing in the Mischief Maker, Startling Twist will now apply minor rent to armor, to enemies. Revealing Weakness, wow, that was easy for me to say, can stack, but with at least 2 burglars up to 2 times on any enemy. Wow, that's very good actually. So if you have 2 burgs and you're putting that on, that's some serious damage that you will be kicking out there for the whole group. I would have thought that. So captains, this is going to be an interesting one. Power costs of some basic skills have been reduced slightly. Wow. Herald healing skills lend courage and lend resolve are erroneously requiring and consuming far too much of the Herald's own morale. These skills now have a much more appropriate morale cost. Armor Rend is now called Armor Break and reduces all enemy mitigations by 3% rather than reducing armor rating. Blade of Elendil will now apply the Armor Break debuff. Elite Companions now increases Herald health, power and damage by 25%. Elite Companions. I'm a bit lost with what it means by Elite Companions. Is that pretty much if you're in an instance, I don't know, with like Glorfindel or Elrond or somebody like that kind of thing fighting alongside you, that they will buff a Herald 25%? I'm presuming that's what that means. I'm sure we'll find out. The Champion. So that's the end of the captain stuff. So not much on the tweakage side. So the Champion, the Wonder Horse. Power costs of many basic skills have been reduced slightly. A number of champion skills had lower than intended critical magnitude damage multipliers, especially for secondary strikes and offhand hits. This issue has been corrected and all skills should now have the appropriate 50% baseline crit multiplier for every hit. Okay, so it certainly looks like the champ is getting some love here. Champion damage is increased by 10%. Blade Wall damage increased by an additional 10%. Fury of Blades damage increased by an additional 5%. Born for Combat damage increased an additional 25%. Remember that skill. Must be one of the tree lines I don't use. Born for Combat now gives you a damage buff 1% per enemy hit, 10 max 15 second duration. Born for Combat now has a 15-second cooldown and does not require you to be hit any number of times before it can be used. Wild Attack now correctly benefits from bonuses to strike skills critical magnitude, such as from the trait Deadly Strikes. Rend no longer reduces enemy mitigations. Blade Wall now reduces enemy physical mitigation by 5%. Oh, that's good. I like it. I have Blade Wall traded on my legendary, on my even on Sam Ridsvin, who's my character that's leveling through the landscape. And I always feel like a Blade Wall, I know it's a kind of an AoE attack, but it doesn't hit as hard as it really should. But yeah, that's good. That's good. So reduces the mitigations and has a 10% damage increase attached to it. Okay. Where are we up to? The Cardalan Essence of Glory now increases Masochism mitigations by only 2.5%. Masochism now improves your mitigations by 5% by default. Rend bleed damage is increased from 10 to 30, increased 10 to 30%, greater increase for higher tiers. Battle Frenzy. Okay, now has a default cooldown of 45 seconds, and its Tracery will reduce its cooldown by up to 7 seconds, meaning its lowest possible cooldown is unchanged at 8 seconds. Okay. The effects of Great Cleave no longer stack with each other when Great Cleave is used twice in quick succession with the help of Call to Greatness. Several skills cooldowns were reduced by 0.2 to 0.3 seconds. The Rend legendary item Tracery now increases the damage dealt by Rend and has no impact on Blade Wall's debuff. So my other main character that I like to keep on top of is the Guardian. So only a few little tweaks. Power cost of many basic skills have been reduced slightly. Guardian damage reduced by 5%. Wow. I know people could hit hard with the Guardian. Maybe I'm just a shit player, but I never found that. I never really hit hard with it. There you go. Specializing in the Keen Blade no longer suggests that you gain a positive bonus to response chain skills. The trait Numb Senses now increases the cooldown of Ignore the Pain by 2 seconds for each tier. This is to balance the value gained from the additional effects removals and should improve cleanse parity with other tank specs in particular. Redirect now reflects and reduces less damage when used in the SMOs. This also affects the potency gained from the trait Vicious Rebuttal. Crit defense rating from the bolster effect has been significantly reduced. Okay. A little bit more balanced in the terms of nerfs for the Guardian. Hunters, you've got one thing and one thing only, aren't you, Lucky? So Explosive Arrow now applies major rent armor when the hunter is specialized in the Trapper tree. Okay, interesting. Lawmasters, looks like Lawmasters getting a bit of a buff. Lou Blood Moon will be very interested in this. Lawmaster damage increased by 15%. That's not too shabby, is it? 15%. Lawmaster brooches and stick pins that give pet in combat morale regen, pet crit rating, and pet evade rating have had their properties removed as they were not working correctly. Wow, so they've completely removed them. Wow. That's a bit of a pisser. Benediction of... yeah. Benediction of the Raven now removes 3% tactical mitigation rather than 10% fire mit. Catmint now increases the potency of your Raven's distraction debuff by 10% and does not impact the Benediction debuff. Sticky Tar now reduces physical mitigation by 8% in addition to its existing 10% tactical reduction. Okay, get throwing that Sticky Tar around, folks. A major rent armor now reduces enemy mitigations by 12.5% rather after the more potent 15% enfeebled debuff expires. Ents Go to War damage has been increased. Oh, I love that Ents Go to War. One of my favourite Lawmaster skills. I'm just glad it's a lot smaller because that thing used to lag the shit out of everybody that was in a raid when you used that. The Mariner. Power costs of many skills have been reduced slightly. Breath of Fire, Fire Pot, and Jagged Knife reduced. Damage reduced 5%. Flick is now an immediate skill. Pitch Pot now reduces physical mitigation by 8%, in addition to its existing 10% tactical mitigation reduction. The Meracant set armor of Elegant Shanties now correctly reduces the critical chance of all enemies hit and correctly shows that it is reducing enemy critical chance. The Shanty Fall with Haste is no longer a toggleable skill. When used, it will still ramp up in potency like it currently does, but will add a steady +3 forward pips every second. Okay, so it's no longer a toggler skill. So the Shanty Fall with skill haste cooldown increased by 15 seconds to account for the time it previously spent toggled on before the cooldown started. And when a minstrel uses Call to Greatness, the breaking of the Thangorodrim will reset rather than guided by the stars. Okay. I don't really play the Mariner. He's very... so the mini CTG, so Call to Greatness. Okay. Is it huge? Yeah. I don't really play the Mariner. I've got... it resets the AoE. Oathbreaker. Oh, it resets the... Oh. Yeah, I do have a very low level Mariner, but it's another character that I need to take through as such. But yeah, I've been concentrating on the champ more so. Minstrel. Bum, bum, bum. Bane's probably all know. Piercing cry, dissonance, damage reduced 15%. straight off the bat. There you go. You think you're going to fucking run around going, poof. Yeah, not anymore, bitches. It's a shame. This will make Red Mini goes from spot 1 of the DPS list to spot 1 of the DPS list. Dear. Piercing cry, melody damage reduced 10%. Raise the spirit healing increased 10%. Raise the Spirit's bonus heal given by Raise Our Spirits is no longer a single follow-up heal. It is once again a short heal over time and will not overwrite itself. A Bolster Courage healing increased 30%. Power cost increased 20%. Fellowship's Heart healing over time increased 15%. Initial heal increased 5%. Triumphant Spirit healing increased 25%. Cord of Salvation healing increased 15%. Power costs increased slightly for Cord of Salvation, Triumphant Spirit, and Perfect Ending. Call of Rom's mitigation debuff has been changed from a ratings debuff to a percentage-based debuff and now removes 2.5% tactical mitigation or 3% in melody. Just going to bring that up. Just going to wiggle my screen. And then just bring that back up so I can read it. So, Bane, what overall, what do you think? And Lou, what do you think to the Lawmaster changes? Obviously, it looks like a bit of a buff. Obviously, lost the stick pins and brooches, but overall, how do you feel about the Lawmaster? Bane, obviously, your Minstrel, you've been very much Redline Minstrel. It does seem like they've given that a bit of a nerf. However, it looks like they've kind of said, hey, you need to be a bit more of a healer rather than, a damage dealer. So I suppose it's been kind of accepted that was going to happen at some point. So Piercing Cry is the only highest skill on the DPS list because how often it gets used. Yeah. Yeah, the healing buffs, it needs even more. Really? Okay, that's interesting to know. I mean, I have a long time healer that she's been around for forever and a day, but only in the early days did I ever do any form of healing with her and, running around like a loon. After that, Lou, I'm happy with those changes for Lawmaster and Hunters with Raven and Fire Mitts. This is soliloquy. Hot is heal over time is still like 4k tick. It's nothing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Runekeepers. Then let's carry on. Let's see what the Runekeepers have got to say for themselves. Runekeeper fire damage increased 20%. Runekeeper lightning damage increased 35%. Healing from Writ of Health reduced by 5%. Molten Runestone damage is now correctly improved by its associated trait and the Runestone healing and damage tracery. Writ of Lightning and Writ of Fire now each apply weakening Writ, which tears up 1 to 5% tactical mitigation. Writ of Lightning no longer reduces lightning mitigation specifically. Power cost of static surge rather reduce. Shocking words damage increase slightly. Do not fall now has a default cooldown of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And its related tracery only reduces its cooldown by up to 33 seconds with a legendary tracery. Runekeeper specialized in Cleansing Flame or the Fury of Storm will only have a do not fall duration of 20 seconds, allowing you to revive an ally. But if used carefully right before an ally is defeated, Do Not Fall will still retain its 5 minutes duration for Benediction Runekeepers. Okay. That's very specific. A Runekeeper is going to have to be right on the ball to make sure that they cast that just as before an ally gets defeated. I'm sure somebody could do it. Molten Runestone damage increased and adjusted so the bonuses to its damage give it closer to the real impact their value suggests. Plus 30% Molten Runestone damage still won't give you a true 30% increase, but this change means its real impact is closer to 30%, where it is closer to 7%. Okay. Rallying Verse now affects the players revived by Do Not Fall this day. And lastly, for the Warden, Power costs of many basic skills have been reduced slightly. Warden skills initial damage, not damage over times, is increased by 5%. Assailment and in the fray stance skill cooldowns have been reduced to 1 second. Marked and diminished targets baseline buff potency has been reduced from 5% to 3%. I have no idea about Warden. As you all know, I never played the class. Well, that's technically not true. I think I've played one to level 10. It was just way too complex for my liking. No. Combat monsters. Oh, sorry. Combat and monsters, rather. Whoop. There we go. Fixed an issue in the protecting the sea lanes Umbar mission wherein portals were usable in combat. Mounted combat. Minstrels and lawmasters will no longer shout twice when using the intimidator skill. Mounted combat. Give us a goddamn skill that can remove corruptions to make Rohan not totally unbearable. People know what I'm on about here. Howling Grey Wolves and the Veil Fly Pest near Kellendim have been adjusted to spawn at level 6. Several named worms in Forakel. Who goes to Forakel? That were identified as warm worms have been corrected to be labelled as cold worms. The Lion and Sabertooth monster effect, Festering Wound, has been given more obvious visual effects to indicate the effect should be cleansed. Cleansed, I say. The crafting. Several crafted medium and light helms and gloves have had their names changed to better reflect their appearance. Weaponsmith polishes have been moved to the Luckstone category in the crafting panels. Umbar crafted burglar signals now properly make use of the critical crafting items for tailors. Fervent morale potions crafted by Umbar Guild scholars has been reworked. They will now increase the healing received by players for a set time. Afterwards, they will be affected by a debuff that prevents the healing increase buff until it runs out. The 141 crafted heraldries now have a level 150 max on the set bonus. The following crafted earrings have had their stats fixed: handmade earring of Tidal Fear and expertly handmade earring of Tidal Fear. Crafting is something that I very little touched with Umbar. I think to my own mind, they've brought in another level of crafting, which obviously they were trying to do, but separately. And I think they've overcomplicated again what crafting is. You need Luckstone, you need a Luckstone socket, and then you need to upgrade that, and then upgrade that, and upgrade that. And it's, to me, I'm sure people are, have got their head around it. Me, I lost interest with it. If you start making things too difficult, people just go click and switch off from it. And it's never good. I think something like crafting, you need to keep it fairly simple. Yeah, it's just burnt out and zoned out. Yeah, it's I just don't think it's conducive to wanting to do something, to be engaged with the content. Because if you're thinking, hang on, you feel like you've got to have a fucking spreadsheet to do something, because it's like, hang on, I've got one of these. What do I need to make that? And I don't think it's very clearly explained. If somebody asked me how top-end crafting now works, not a clue. I'll be asking somebody in the stream that's kind of done it. I'm sure eventually I will get my head around it, but not at the moment. Right, events. Let's have some events. Players can no longer exploit the last gate of the Forester event by going through in the opposite direction. Sneaky little bastards. Players now need to turn in the quest for the Forester event to receive their winner and runner-up rewards. Wow. That looks like some kind of little exploit that somebody's been doing. Axes in the Forester event now spawn when the event is ready to begin. This should eliminate the exploit where players were getting the axes without an induction. Okay, interesting. Items and rewards. Let's see. New recipes are now available for barter from the City of Umbar rewards. Quartermaster Cloak of Machdar Corbo recipe, Token of Umbar recipe, and Serpentine Essence recipe. Newly acquired Adventurers loot box gear for level 150 characters will now scale to item level 513 to 515. Seafaring Adventurers Essence boxes are now available for barter with the Adventurers Quartermaster and have a chance to drop from the Adventurers Steelbound loot boxes. The Allegiance armor item, elegantly woven shoes of the eagle, have had their stats updated so they are no longer the same as finely stitched shoes of the eagle. Additional cloaks of LSR may be bartered from King's Gondor Quartermaster NPCs. Special Word of Craft traceries. Now, I believe this is quite a change. So, Special Word of Craft traceries no longer allow you to equip Gundabad and Umbar versions simultaneously. You can still equip one incomparable and one legendary tracery of the same type, but you cannot equip a legendary Gundabad induction tracery at the same time as a legendary Umbar induction tracery, for example. Okay. I think it was yesterday or was it today? I can't remember. I did see somebody ask that similar question, like, can I put one of these on and one of these at the same time? And they were like, yeah, you can do that, yeah, but you've got to be on different weapons, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's going to affect people. I reckon there's going to be a few people that are like, why is my weapon so shit now? Why can I not use that weapon? I don't know what it's going to do to anybody that's got an existing weapon with either of those on. Is it just going to nullify one and go red? Because they're going to be pretty pissed, aren't they? If it's already on their weapon, and they're going to have either use mithril coins or have some form of removal scroll, a tracery removal scroll to take it off. Because otherwise, if it doesn't work, oops. Some Ost, Dunoth and Wildemore shields once again display at their intended size. Umbari Feast will now apply over any current trail food and cooked buffs on the player. Personal use 2-hour food and feast now have the same priority. So the class instances are going to be craftable instead of a drop. The Seafaring Adventurers Essence boxes are now available for barter with the Adventurers Quartermaster and have a chance to drop from Adventurers Steelbound loot boxes. So I think they're going to be barterable rather than craftable. Or there is going to be some recipes there for the Serpentine Essence recipe, if that's the one you're referring to. So yeah, there's either going to be a Serpentine Essence recipe or you're going to get Seafaring Adventurers Essence boxes from the Adventurers Quartermaster. Yeah, the Serpentine. Okay, yeah, so it looks like you're going to get a recipe for it. Recipe. Now, obviously, there's going to be new stuff that's going to be coming with, in terms of rewards with the new instances as well. So, I have seen the like some graphics of what's going to be coming in terms of rewards from the instances. So yeah, Umbari Feast, yeah, we've done that one. Umbari Feast are now correctly able to trigger both trail food and cooked buffs for brawlers. The map to Rosgabel will now be consumed on use. However, it's had its cooldown lowered to 10 minutes. I think the people were a bit pissed at this because they did use it to go speak to Radagast. And all of a sudden it's now a consume on use rather than just a long cooldown. How you doing, Paddy? Delving Hope tokens now last 30 minutes and persist through death. Does not apply to Fellowship. Okay, so that's Delving Hope tokens, yeah. The video effects on the weapon aura of Elven Blessings was a bit overpowering. It's been slightly toned down. In the landscape, underground marigolds in the Gloom Glens have been brought to the surface. Braeglas flower in the Old Forest has been moved from inside of a rock. A crate of supplies in Scarhald has been moved from the inside of a wall. The Roving Threats Quartermaster in Angmar and Forakel, Kanak and Ostersand have traded appearances to be consistent with their locations. Tegwin Spurry in Trader's Wharf has got new hair. Beriadur in Dol Amroth, King's Gondor, will now have a consistent appearance. Lery Grud has put her book away in order to fix her hair. Ambassador Spackorth now looks the same inside the instance of Forged House Anew as he does outside of it. Ryan Gar's clothes in the Herne Mayor's office kitchen are now the clothes she was wearing the last time you saw her. Interesting. The roving threats quartermaster in Angmar and Forakel. Kanak and Austin trade a bit. Oh, okay, that's a double. Lisbeth Honeymead of the Coombe and Wattle Inn is no longer sinking into the floor. The defender of Oscaroth at the Glane camp in the Lowlands is now standing on the ground. Sithgar in Osrimon has calmed down a bit and is no longer kicking things. Thurgam in Osgalad no longer kicks the table between conversations. Balmond of Stoke in West Rohan has a more consistent appearance. Miscellaneous stuck spots have been fixed. Miscellaneous asset placement issues have been fixed. The Longbeard Stable Masters have been renamed War Effort Recruiter to reflect their role more accurately. Fixed a font problem with displaying instance names in the Outer Gondor reflecting pool. So missions and delvings. This is important because these have changed quite dramatically. Obviously, as we said earlier in the patch notes, we are getting changes in terms of the Elder Slave missions are going to be converted to delvings. So if you have any Elder Slave missions on the go, I believe now would be the time to get them finished, because tomorrow I think they'll probably be either deleted or reset, so you might have to start again with them because they're going to be converted to delvings. I can't imagine that if you've done 7 missions, they're going to automatically convert to 7 delvings, so you might have to restart on that one. 71 Elder Slave missions have been converted to delvings. 9 missions have not been converted to delvings due to being incompatible in some way with the system. These missions, the following missions are incompatible: Collapsing the Old Paths, Burrows by the Hadhodiant, the Sacrificial Tower, the Watchers of Iron, the Three Wardens, the Goblin Town Gauntlet, Invasions of the Redhorn Pass, Training for Glory, and Goblins at Starnvarth. Okay. Goblin Town Gauntlet is... I'm glad that's not becoming a delving. Okay. The Delving White Archer now uses ranged skills at ranged distances and does not default to melee skills. Added travel skills to the Bloody Eagle Tavern in Umbar to Delving Quartermasters for Delving Writs. These skills can be used from level 20 onwards. The travel skills available from Delving Quartermasters to Anakafu in Elderslade have had their items lowered to 20 to allow lower level characters to venture on missions there. In mission, aiding the bridge builders, the builders now have hammers in their hands that they also use as weapons. Elderslade missions can now redeem completely delving quests and give delving weekly quests. That was easy to say. Elderslade missions have been changed from a 10-day schedule to 7. This change has been made alongside the delving mission conversion so that each delving variant would appear in each mission. Epic Malices. So these are an interesting change as well. They did mention this. Not Cordovan. Orion. He mentioned these a little while ago. Epic Malices have been added to delvings. These are malices that affect you or the space itself. These epic malices will appear on tier 9 as part of the reordering of malices. We are launching with 3 epic malices and more may be added in the future. Epic Fervor. Your fervor in intensity grows with each enemy defeated. For each enemy defeated, gain a stacking damage buff. Buff stacks up to 10 times. Okay. That's an interesting one. Epic Tempest. Storm clouds form in the space, spawning every 45 seconds and rolling through the space. There are 4 possible storms. Storm of Fire, which does fire damage to you and the enemies. Storm of Lightning, which does lightning damage to you and your enemies. Storm of Healing, which heals you and your enemies. And Storm of Protection, which grants an armor buff to you and the enemies. Orc Tunnels. Orcs and goblins are digging under your feet. Orc tunnels will pop up in the space every 90 seconds. 1 tunnel will spawn per player. Destroy the tunnel or it will spawn a random delving orc or goblin every 30 seconds. Okay. So it looks like you're going to be on the lookout for that. It's if John was here, we'd be mentioning bug tunnels and all sorts. So you need to take them down, otherwise you have an infinite spawn. Sorry, that's a Helldivers 2 reference. Delving malices have been reordered. We aim to do this periodically to keep delvings fresh and showcase new combinations of malices. With the addition of delving epic malices to tier 9, malices previously have been moved to tier 11, so every delving tier now unlocks a new Malice. The adorable Sandworm and Grabby Crab pets are now available from the Delving Quartermaster for Delving Writs. A Delving Quartermaster has been added to the Anakafu War Room. Players can now barter for level 150 essences and crafted tracery recipes from Delving Rewards NPCs. Sauron's defense now reflects 30% of damage instead of 45%. Sauron's defense is a corruption, and when removed will no longer re-add a lower tier of Sauron's defense. Lingering Fear now subtracts 50% of incoming healing down from 90% and has a cap of 2 effects at once on a player. The Delving Malices, Encroaching Shadow and Slime Puddles 2 have had their base effects increased slightly. The following Delving Malices have had their capped number of effects per player reduced. Disease Cloud 1, Disease Cloud 2, Firestorm 1, Firestorm 2, Poison Puddles 1 and 2, Slime Puddles 1 and 2, Encroaching Shadow, Explosion, Devastation 1 and 2. Each effect has been reduced from a cap of 3 to 6 effects to a max of 2 effects per player. Gnawing Cold and Persistent Cold attacks have 1 hour player debuffs have been removed from the Elder Slade mission monsters. The Throne of Thalazar Elder Slade mission now correctly lists Hrimmel's Chosen as the mission twist. On a mission weekly and on a continuing mission weekly will no longer be stored twice. On legendary worlds like Treebeard, only the version awarding motes of enchantment will be available until the level cap matches other live worlds. The Elder Slade mission, the Sacrificial Tower, now correctly lists reinforcements as its mission twist. Delving mission givers no longer reference Callus Gelebren or Sarsh Vaughn, the Black Grave. The Ballistae in the Elder Slade mission Assault on Ashmar Zarak will now show destruction visual effects when destroyed. Added polish to mission A Life's Work. The mission Twist Burning Shield is now a corruption and is removable by corruption removal. That's always handy. Has a max stack size of 3. The portal at the beginning of the Ill-Fated Cave Umbar mission now no longer allows passage while on that mission, as it is only intended for use during the Dig Deep Cave of Umbar quest. So, not long to go, and then I won't bore you to death any longer. Questies and adventure areas. So we fixed the graphical glitch that occurred when Legolas dismounts from his horse during instance allies unexpected. Fixed an issue in the Cape of Umbar quest of Pallid Tide, wherein billboard counter announcements were not appearing for all objectives. Ulanor should have never been attackable during Blood of My Blood, either when visible or invisible. Now she's not. There have been also numerous fixes to the drama sequence. Adjusted the placement of crates for the stacking game in the Furak Zahar to eliminate some graphical issues. Mithril travel to Faerun to Arganeth. The return to Saragoth should now send you to its correct location. Adjusted the phasing for Ayaluk in Rakatab if you help someone with part of this questline without having started it yourself. Worm and Corsair Slayer deeds for the Cape of Umdar will now count more of their enemies in this area. The quest bestowing items for Reflection of War, Call of the North and Angmar Reborn Prologue are now destructible, which brings them in line with other similar items. The Kundalar boss you encounter during Instance Mist of Andrin will no longer fight with an invisible sword. That's cheating. Ered Mithrin repeatable quest can be reset with Mithril. West Gondor repeatable quest can now be reset with Mithril. Lothlorien and Gundabad repeatable quest can be reset with Mithril. The Lothlorien repeatable quest, A Revel Too Far, can now be reset with Mithril. West Gondor fishing repeatable quest can also be reset with Mithril. Daily and weekly mission quests in Gundabad have been made Mithril resettable to aid in Allegiance progress. Mithril travel to Faerun to Arganeth and return to Saragoth should now send you. We've already had that one. Adjusted the placement of crates of the stacking. Wow, we're just repeating these. Oh, okay. We're repeating these. That one. The Pelargia King's Gondor quest, A Cure for Weariness, now rewards players with level appropriate lamb hotspots. At the drama sequence at the end of the mission, the Jelruka Clan chapter 8 has received some polish. Alwyn will no longer disappear from Imdalen above Rivendell when she departs for the wedding. Players working on the Court of Lothlorien will still need to speak to her in Imlad Galer, but now she will more reliably present in the early game. The bestowal text and objectives in the quest The War If It Needs You have been updated for accuracy and clarity. Isn't that the one that's up in Ered Mithrin? The War Effort Needs You, that always catches everybody out because it's so goddamn confusing. I hope so, because that is an absolute pain in the derriere, that questline. I can't remember if it is that or is it the help in the expedition or something. I can't remember the name of it, but that is an absolute nightmare. Made some adjustments to the would-be shantyman to make Anyamat's quest objectives more clear. Corsairs in Azrutha's Rue and the rest of Talon's Crown will now count for the D Corsair Slayer of Western King's Gondor and Corsair Slayer of the Western King's Gondor Advance. Wow, so if you want to go in there, there's plenty of Corsairs. That'll be a handy little place to run around. Goats and deer in King's Gondor West Belfalas will now were incorrectly classified as belonging to the Blackroot Vale. How rude. Adjusted the direction of the crossing of Eru for Epic Volume 4, Book 3, Chapter 3, Fearless. 2 previously remotely bestowed quests in Harwick, East Rowan, pushing back their advance and quench the flames, are now bestowed by Sergeant Hubert. Both require the quest Prisoners of Oglakosh to be in progress before he will offer them to you. Hobbit and Elf Allegiance instant quests that previously appeared in the quest log under Allegiance, the King of the Gondor, will now appear in their correct categories. Bounty quest to hunt the proto creatures is now properly set to Small Fellowship. Yep. The town crier in the Belfast housing area now probably allows you to enter the session play for the April Fool event. Monsters within Shakalush the Stair Battle can no longer be slowed. Play versus monster play. Kind of, some people will enjoy this, kicking the shit out of each other. The new Etmos food and buff scroll effects will now be properly removed upon leaving the Etmos. Note that this should not be removed if you lose connection or simply reorg within the bounds of the Etmos. Several monster player traits and effects were granted higher than intended values for in-combat regen rates. These have been corrected and now give the intended values. This also impacted morale and power levels from imposing presence and vitality buff from the Curse of the Lethargic Heart. The free player morale bonus from 17 Audacity in the SMOs has been reduced from 50% to 40%. In-combat power restoration from Etmos War Rations is now closer to the standard food in-combat power regen. Many Etmos consumable items have larger stack sizes. Freep outgoing damage bonus from 17 Audacity has been reduced from 1.2 to 1.15. Okay, so they've reduced it by 0.05. Miscellaneous stuff. Emotes. River Hobbits now produce trumpet sounds when performing the trumpet emote. Yule tunic and trousers and the appearances that use the same model now show feet slot cosmetics when worn with shoes for Beorning, Race of Man and River Hobbits. Boots are too tall will be hidden, and instead the outfit's default shoes will be displayed. Feet will no longer disappear. The Brockenborn's provision of Sancho Chubb in the Shire has been had that title added to his character. The deposing of bottles in the Midsummer Festival quest A Cure for All Ills now has an animation. Remove the extra sound effect that was playing during instance the Fellowship departs. All Beorning traceries should now correctly have a chance of dropping from random tracery packages. Yeah, that's really weird. I don't ever remember seeing, whenever you open a tracery box, a Beorning tracery. Specifically. Isn't that weird? Certain versions of the damage vulnerability properties had their tooltip descriptions mixed up. Melee versus range versus tactical. This has been fixed. Fixed a bug causing auras to sometimes not display an axe of the Shadow King. Neighborhood taskbars have been adjusted. Level 140 tasks are now on their own posting. The placement of some of the postings have been adjusted so that the levels of the tasks align with the task collection box below them. The Bloody Tavern vendor Akalam's map note has been corrected. Neighborhood taskbars now have tasks for level 141 to 150. Players can no longer rotate while using the Epic Lecture emote, which was previously breaking the effect. French and German, several translations for NPC occupation titles has been updated. The known issues. Okay, there are a subset of items that granted statistical bonuses beyond their designated level range, and in the near future we will prevent these items from granting statistical bonuses once their listed level range has been reached. Shields of the Hammerhand, Earring of the Dead City, Empowering Earring of the High Elves, Focusing Earring of the High Elves, Weightless Earring of the High Elves, Fateful Gundabad Earring, Flowing Silver Stone of the Tortoise, and Fleet Merchant's Earring. We expect this to change to arrive in update 39.1. Okay, so the Fleet Merchant's Earring is the one that I currently use 2 of characters that are leveling because of the bonus. So statistical bonus beyond their designated level, but the fleet mentions of the earring for the statistical bonus. Okay, be interesting to see what that actually is. So there we go. That is going to be update 39, which is going to be tomorrow. So new 2 new 3-mans, 3-person instances, a 6-person instance, the 12-person raid, delvings in the Elder Slade. What used to be missions are now going to be delvings. Loads of changes for the various classes. Mostly, I think the champ probably wins out a bit there with the amount that they've got. Minstrels, a little bit of a tweak. Improved healing, a bit of reduction on their DPS. Lawmasters, again, seem to be quite good, increasing the morale, but the brooches and stick pins don't seem to be working correctly. So they've removed them. Other classes haven't really been touched, although the Mariner has had a little bit of a toggle, and I think it was what Ben alluded to, where things can be slightly in favour because it can reset various things, which is the Call to Greatness Breaking the Thanga Ring will reset the Guided by the Stars. So yeah, crafting new essences. I think it said that there's going to be available for items and rewards, which was there. Yeah, serpentine essence recipes for the gear. Landscape tweaks, delvings and missions, epic malices, a few tweaks to the questies and adventure areas. My character's just been logged out right on cue. And then just miscellaneous stuff for there. So that's going to be tomorrow. So if you've got anything that you want to get done, if you're speaking to the EU people in the morning before the servers go down, I'm not entirely sure what time the servers are due to go down. I don't know if they've actually announced the exact time. But yeah, if you've got anything to do, get it done early doors before the servers go down. So as we know, with all updates, things can and may go wrong. So we may need to wait a bit longer than necessary for the patch to be applied. We have seen, obviously, in the past where they've rolled back a patch because it hasn't done, blah, blah, blah. Patching, no matter how much you test it, can sometimes go wrong, and who knows. So do have a backup plan, but we shall see. So yeah, tomorrow we might do the raid later on. We'll be on at some point anyway, even if we're not doing the raid. Depends if there's room within the group for a bit of a carry on the captain. And then Friday, I'm going to be doing the Everspace 2 stream over on Rockfish, so I'm on that duty there on the Friday night, and then then we'll be at the weekend. But we've got Magic's mum coming to stay with us at the weekend. Yeah, we've got Magic's mum, and then Sunday we'll be out hopefully for dinner at some point because we've got Magic's mum and then my mum. So we decided to do Mother's Day this weekend for them and take them out for dinner. And then next week, I'm doing Magic a big favour because I'm going to be going into the schools that she teaches at to talk to her classes about my career and how I got into gaming and working on game development. I don't know who's going to be more scared, me or the children, because I'm going to be bricking it. Put me in front of thousands of people on the internet and don't have a problem. Put me in a classroom in front of 30, 40 kids, bricking it. At least I'll have Magic there as well as the class teacher, but we'll see. That's all next week. And then next week should be a normal week. I feel like there will be carnage, potentially, although Magic will keep them under control. Yeah. She's feisty in the classroom. I won't mess with her. Everywhere else, but not in the classroom. But yeah, then the week after, not next week, the week after, we'll be here at the weekend, but then we'll be away for 4 days. I'm on leave that week, actually. I'm on a whole 10 days off. 10 days off. Actually, next week. Is it next week? What day is it? 21st. That's next week, isn't it? Yeah, because we're on the 15th, are we, on Friday? Yeah. 21st. Oh, need to remember. Horizon Zero Dawn. Not Zero Dawn. Forbidden West. Forbidden West. That launches 21st, unless it's delayed. But I think it's due on the 21st. So, yeah, we'll be I know. He takes his time. You couldn't handle Alan Wake 2. You found it a bit weird. But yeah, we'll be diving into that. But yes, so I'm going to love you and leave you. I've been a busy day today, so I'm not going to do a full stream. We just talk about things, stuff. Update 39 tomorrow in Lotro. Get ready for patch, update, fixes. Enjoy. And we'll probably, hopefully, see you tomorrow at some point with a bit more Lotro. Hope you can join us then. But in the meantime, folks, take care, be good. See you again soon. For now.